What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of my little mixology show, Rob the Rich, Free the Poor, coming to you live from beautiful downtown Long Beach, California, in our home bar that started out as a hobby when the pandemic hit, when COVID-19 hit. I am a band director, high school teacher, and I got bored, and we both got bored. My wife and I are both teachers, and we got bored and started doing this show. So welcome back. For those of you who have seen my show before, thank you for returning. And if you are new to my channel, please consider hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button. I do this show live once a week, about once a week, just sharing my love of cocktails and this new mixology habit that I've developed. So I'm just cleaning my glassware as I've seen bartenders do. I'm excited. I'm very excited about this week's show because this is part 2 of a Vermouth special. So this is sort of all things Vermouth part 2. So we're going to be diving into the Martinez and the Martini today. So a little bit of background on the Martinez, and I've got some notes here, so forgive me while I read this. And that's our first cocktail that we're going to do today. The Martinez is a classic cocktail that is widely regarded as the direct precursor to the Martini. It serves as the basis of many modern cocktails, and several different versions of the original do exist. These are generally distinguished by the accompaniment of either maraschino or curacao, as well as differences in gin or bitters. The history of this cocktail is kind of unclear. It could be a saloon in Martinez, California. You know, it could be an 1884 drink by O.H. Byron. We're not really sure. There was another one. Harry Johnson quoted it in 1888. But at some point, someone said, "All right, let's take Old Tom Gin, which was a popular spirit at the time, and just adding a little bit of a sweetener. In this case, we're going to use maraschino or maraschino liqueur, and the result is a pretty awesome cocktail. So let's get this one started. I'm going to move my specs over to the left here and get you guys going. So all of these will be stirred cocktails. So unlike Mr. Bond's request, we'll get into Mr. Bond a little bit later when he's talking about a shaken martini. You can shake a martini. I've had them before. You can shake a Manhattan. I've had them before. But the problem with shaking these types of drinks is you are adding too much dilution to the cocktail. And because there's no citrus in any of these cocktails, you don't need that dilution. You really want to taste the vermouth. You want to taste the base spirit. You want to taste the bitters. And in doing the research for this particular show, I've just been delighted with how these taste. A lot of these original specs, you guys, are from this book right here called Imbibe by David Wondrich. If you are interested in this sort of thing, if you're kind of a cocktail geek like me and you want to check out some of the history of where some of these cocktails came from, this is where the specs I got from. Now, David, I should say Dr. Wondrich, he was a former college professor who found out his love of cocktails could parlay into a writing career. And so thank God he started writing about cocktails. And so this book is actually from this book, this is How to Mix Drinks, or the Bon Vivant's Companion. This was originally published in 1862 by the late, great Jerry Thomas. Jerry Thomas is the father of all bartending. He's the quintessential guy, you know, with the white shirt and the apron and the bow tie and all that. So from this begat today's show. Got it? All right, let's go. So here's the Martinez. We are going to start with a dash of, we're supposed to have Boker's bitters. Well, they're hard to find and they're really expensive, but I've done the research, trust, and the Fee Brothers old-fashioned, not fashioned with an ED, but old-fashioned aromatic bitters that have been around since the 1800s. I don't know, long time. The Fee Brothers, great story about the Fee Brothers. Check out their website. I have it on good authority by a lot of research, you guys, that this is pretty close. This is pretty close. Looks like I have, a couple of guests. If you want to say some stuff in the chat, I've got the live chat does work and it will be saved later on, just like when this show used to be on Facebook. So if you want to hit me up with any questions in the chat that come up. If you're seeing this show after, feel free, please, please, please hit me up in the comments below if you have questions, if you have ideas for shows, that would be great. I've also finally created my own website for this whole thing. All the specs for these cocktails that I do today will be posted on my website probably tomorrow. Once I upload this video, I take it from the live show and we make it, just part of my channel. Feel free to check that out. So you in the description below, you'll see obviously the, if you're new, please please click on that, and please like and please subscribe to my channel. I'd like to parlay this little hobby into something that I can monetize, a year from now or something like that. But I have to have likes and subscribers and views and all of that kind of thing. So please consider subscribing. And then the other thing is, click on the check out my website later. And again, I will put all the specs. You'll get the same specs that I'm looking at. I create these little pages in Google Slides, and then I make a PDF. So you'll have these specs, you guys. All right. So you don't have to take notes. Just enjoy the show. Hopefully, I'll be a little entertaining and you'll learn some things. All right. So we've got our bitters in there, and then the next thing we're going to do 2 dashes of. And forgive me, this bottle is ginormous, but this is all that Total Wine & More had. You don't need to buy this giant $25 bottle. You can get the small one. But for this cocktail, I do recommend that you use this particular cherry liqueur. You could use cherry hearing. This is what cherry hearing looks like. This is another cherry liqueur. This is great. I haven't ever tried it with the Martinez. My guess is it would taste pretty good, but I've never tried it. And I'm really trying to follow the original specs for you guys today. So when I'm giving you the tasting notes, my goal is for us to be able to, peel back the curtain and get a little bit of a history lesson, right? So it calls for like 2 dashes. So I'm just going to go like, just a scant little drop of maraschino liqueur. Obviously, if you like your cocktails a little bit sweeter, you can hit that. A little bit harder, that would be totally fine. Now, the next is we are using Old Tom Gin. No, this is not a gin made by some old guy named Tom. It refers to the style. So we had Genever, which was it was a Dutch, I believe Dutch spirit, which had botanicals, right? And then it was aged in a barrel. And then we have this. So before you got Beefeater, London Dry, you had this style, Old Tom Gin. It is much more floral. It's aged in a barrel. London Dry Gin is not. There's still botanicals, so you have lemon peel and citrus and juniperberry and, all those great herbs. And they basically steep it like tea. So that is done with Old Tom Gin, but then they barrel age it. And there's just so many different things coming out. So this is great. This is, you can find this at Total Wine & More. Bevmo has it. And of course, you can get it online at wine.com, Drizzly, any of those places. But this is Copper & Kings. So this is an American brandy company, and they use a pot still. So it's single, this stuff is really great. It's not too expensive. I think this is about $30 a bottle. But if you're going to do authenticity, excuse me, if you're going to do authentic, you got to have authentic material. So 1 ounce of Old Tom Gin, not a lot. This stuff is it's floral. It's got a lot going on. So you don't want to overdo it on the Old Tom Gin. I made that mistake the other day. All right. And then here's where, and if you tuned in to my show last week, or you caught it on my YouTube channel, and we talked about brown vermouth. We talked about sweet vermouth. This is the original. This is Carpano Antica formula from 1786. No, I have no problems with Cinzano or Martini and Rossi or Dolan vermouth, which is great. But this, you guys, Carpano Antica, just memorize what this bottle looks like. If you go to a cocktail bar and you see this bottle, then you know you're in a good place. If you want to start having better Manhattans and any other cocktail, Negronis, any other cocktail that uses vermouth, start buying this stuff. It's not cheap. This is about $34. I think it's about 35 bucks a bottle for the big one. But it's worth it. And as long as you keep it in the refrigerator, it'll taste good. I promise. Here's what's neat about the Martinez. It's vermouth forward. So in continuing our vermouth show, it's just lovely. just a lovely, lovely cocktail. So we are doing 2 ounces of that. Once again, this is the Martinez, not the Martini, the Martinez. Okay, and then we just need some ice. We're going to stir this bad boy up. You can shake it if you'd like. If you don't have a, and you don't have to have a fancy stirring glass. You can use, these are the onions for our Gibson cocktail that we're going to do later. You can even just do one of these. If you have a mason jar, you guys, guess what? That's a cocktail shaker. And a lot of the, if you do the wide mouth mason jars, a Hawthorne strainer fits in there too. So you have that. But, and again, I'm not sponsored by these guys. Maybe someday down the road. I got this at barproducts.com for like $5. Barproducts.com. Super awesome stuff. Maybe one of these days they'll say, hey, here's some free stuff. Right? All right, so we're going to stir this bad boy up. We want to chill out the vermouth, obviously, which is already cold. It just got pulled out of the refrigerator like 5 minutes ago. We're going to stir all the ingredients. Anyway, I was saying, yes, you could shake. You can shake any of these cocktails. But I think you're missing out. I think you're missing out on what's available as far as the flavor profile. You know, we go to all the trouble to use these fresh, good ingredients, right? But if you chill it out much by shaking it, first of all, you're going to get ice chips in there, which is like it's so wrong, right? To have all that happening, it's just better. You know what I mean? It's like if you're going to go to the trouble of doing some mixology and craft. What was the company I played? Okay. Oh, good. I'm an enabler. Jennifer says. So she's blaming me for her new martini obsession. That's fantastic. I am glad to be your enabler. I'm your pusher, baby. Look at that. Right to the wash line. We are not messing around, boys and girls. I'm using my little 3-ounce coops. Aren't those cute? Barproducts.com. They're like $1.99, you guys, I swear. And I am not sponsored by those guys. I would like to be. I know they'll probably never see this. Who knows? Maybe a year down the road they will give me a chance. But all right, let's do a little. I'm just gonna move this out just a little bit, just flatten the edge. So we want to express this over our cocktail. We want to wipe it around the edges, and then I saw this. What I want to do is place it on top of the cocktail. That way, the peel is not, the oils from the peel are not getting in the way of the balance of the cocktail. Yes, I know, I'm being really OCD. Sorry about the fire truck in the background, but as I told you, we are in downtown Long Beach. The fire department is right across the street. Here we go. Let's it. Oh, I did so good. I did so well this time, you guys. Oh my gosh, I did so well on this one. This is great. Sorry about the noise. I should have closed the window before we started the show. The Martinez, oh my gosh. The Old Tom Gin is very floral. So, but what's fun is the way that this cocktail plays out, the floralness sort of comes out in the back of the throat towards the end. What you taste right away up front is that beautiful sweet vermouth, that Carpano Antica, just rich. A little bit chocolatey. There's so much depth in this, you guys. It's just fantastic. I highly encourage you. If you are a martini person, or if you are a Manhattan person, because some of you might have said, well, Rob, this kind of seems like a Manhattan with gin instead of rye or bourbon. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And it's delicious. It's so delicious. And I think also, instead of using Angostura bitters, these are great, but somehow the botanicals in these bitters, which these are the standard bitters, there's something about these Fee Brothers bitters, which are very close to the Booker's bitters. There's just something about them, you guys. And these aren't expensive. Total Wine & More, again, Vermouth, Drizzly. Oh, so we got some new folks. Oh, my brother Aaron is on the show. Thank you, sir. And Teresa. Oh my gosh, my old high school buddy. Good to see you, love. I know, I have these other cocktails to make, and I do want to move things along, but oh my God, this is so good, you guys. One more sip. A very well-balanced cocktail. So if you, man, I just can't get over it. I just I did good this time. So there's this restaurant down the street called The Ordinary, and my son and I went and I had one of these, and they do their own barrel aging of their Old and Top gin, so their gin is pretty rad. But I got pretty close to this, and that cocktail over there, I paid like $16 for it, and like this one didn't cost me anything extra. So we might be. My sister-in-law says, "Are we making martinis?" Yeah, we might be. We'll see. I gotta set that one aside because I have more cocktails to make for y'all. All right, let's see. What's next? The Fourth Degree. Now this one, okay, I made this one last week. Yeah, I made this one last week. I don't remember when. Let me give you a little history because I was like, what? This is really weird. It almost has, if you've ever had a Sazerac before, if you haven't, you need to have a Sazerac in your life. Just remember that word, Sazerac. And if you go to like a craft cocktail bar, you know, where everybody looks hipsters and, you know what a craft cocktail bar is. If you're watching my show, you probably know what a craft cocktail bar is. Ask them for a Sazerac, you know, and see what they make you. But let me give you the history really quick. The Fourth Degree is a classic from the golden age of pre-prohibition cocktails. It lands somewhere between the Martinez, the proto-martini, and the classic wet martini. Not surprisingly, it uses gin and vermouth, but in this case, equal amounts of gin in both sweet and dry vermouth, along with a dash of absinthe and a lemon twist. So this is a little different, and I'm going to do this a little different than the way okay. So this is an atomizer, and this has absinthe on the inside. So I also have, let me grab this for you guys to show you. I also have an absinthe dasher bottle, and when I made this last week, I put the absinthe dashes into the mixing glass as per the original specs, and it was too absinthe forward. Absinthe is a very strong and niche flavor, so it has that like licorice kind of flavor, and it kind of blew out the cocktail for me, and I was kind of like, eh. So the way I'm going to make it for you guys today is I'm going to take my atomizer, and we're just going to spritz the inside of our Nick and Nora glass. And so this is what we're going to serve it in. So it's just going to be like a little kiss, I hope, of the absinthe, because, and this is where I say where this cocktail is kind of like a hybrid of the, where it's like a martini and a Sazerac, because it has the absinthe. So we'll see how this goes, because I didn't test this out before today's show. So 3 ounces of, and we're going to use London dry gin. I had this small bottle of Beefeater that I bought. I actually did I did my first like actual live for free, you know, bartending gig for my wife's staff party a few weeks ago. We're both teachers, and, you know, it was kind of, thank God, the end of the Zoom death, right? And so it was a full bottle at the beginning of that, and it, you know, it didn't last that long. So we are going to do 3/4 of an ounce of London dry gin. You can use Beefeater, you can use Gordon's if you'd like, but make sure you're using a London dry gin. This isn't nearly as floral. This is standard gin. So any of the gin that you guys have had in a bar or whatever, even like Trader Joe's sells one. It looks just like Beefeater, and it's a little smaller. It has these same color specs, and it has a red top. I forget what the name of it is. It's like $10. That's great gin, you guys. That would be perfect for this cocktail. So we're gonna have sweet vermouth and dry vermouth. So it's gonna mellow this out a little bit. So 3/4 of an ounce. So I'm not gonna over pour here. I gotta watch. I may have gone a little too high on the gin, so I want to make sure my little jigger here. And you guys, if you don't have one of these, if you really want to get a little bit more consistent with your mixology game, get one of these. They're not expensive. You can get one on Amazon for like $5, you know, maybe 10 if you include shipping. This is worth it, you know, to start measuring out your portions. You're going to give yourself cleaner specs, and you're going to have a more consistent experience from, you know, week to week or whatever it is, or in my case, day to day with your cocktail game. Okay, so we've got our sweet vermouth in, and then we're also, this is Dolan dry vermouth. This is one of my favorite. This is, memorize this label. Look for this label. This is the other one. So Dolan is fantastic. I was using Dolan dry vermouth, both sweet and dry, for a long time before I discovered Carpano and Tico. We're going to 3/4 of that. Now, like I said, instead of an absinthe dash, we did an absinthe rinse. And somebody's idea, like, I may have done an absinthe rinse on one of those cocktails last week. I don't know. I have no idea. There may have been extra cocktails. You know, sometimes towards the end of the show when I've made 5 and sipped 5, I tend to get a little loopy. So, all right, so we're going to stir this bad boy up. And this has a lemon twist. I love these. A lot of these have a little lemon twist on there. Just so easy, lemon twist. And with all of these, anything that's a cocktail that's meant to be sipped, and obviously you guys are saying like, dude, these martinis are just all booze, man. Well, that's kind of like my indicator. That's been my thing. I'm like putting, resting the garnish on top is a way to help you enjoy what's going on. All right, strain into a chilled coupe or Nick and Nora. And I'm going to use a Nick and Nora glass, so it probably won't go all the way to the wash line. I want to get. This is one thing where obviously the Ordinary is a fancy dancy restaurant where they've really got me. They have the rad, like the super rad Nick and Nora glasses. Again, this was like $3. They have the like fancy, $20 a piece, beautiful glasses. Someday, maybe for my birthday, you know what I mean? A lot of the other guys that do this kind of show and gals that do this kind of show, they sponsor, they sponsor things. So that obviously this, if this were a small, this is like a 5-ounce Nick and Nora glass. I really should have a 3-ounce Nick and Nora glass. So I apologize that the wash line is so terrible. It's too low. But the cocktail, won't suck. Okay, so let's get our little lemon twist. And instead of a twist, it's just a lemon peel. We're just going to peel it, and we're going to trim off the edges, make it pretty, and we're going to just set it right on top, just like we did with the other one. And then what's this one called? Yeah, this is the 4th degree. Okay, apparently. I don't know. All right, so squeeze that. Make sure you use fresh lemon. Squeeze that. Express that over the cocktail. And then we're going to just place it right on top like a gift. All right, here we go. Checking the nose first. Getting that lemon, of course. That's another reason to place it on top. You get the enjoyment of the lemon in the nose. Way better with the absinthe rinse. Oh, holy shit. Hallelujah. Yay. Because I was really concerned when I made that. I was like, oh, try not to have cocktails that are like, bleh, on my show. Because it's like, if a cocktail's good, then it's not worth drinking. That is yummy. That is light. That is light. It's not nearly as deep and rich, obviously, as the first one we made, the Martinez. So to me, this would be the difference of like the first one, like, so for beer, let's do a beer analogy. So the first one, like Budweiser, like thick like that. But then this is like Bud Light, so you taste like all the hops and all the grain and all that in like a full lager beer. And then the lighter ones, because they put more rice in the mash bill, it lightens it out. That's really lovely. Yeah, that's good. Well, and it drops in. Yeah, that's good. It's not my favorite. It's a little more bitter. I don't know why. So I love when I'm using like the sweet vermouth, I love Carpano Antica. It just has, it's so deep, it's so rich, and I hate to ruin it, but this is good. I mean, I don't know if I would make it every day, but it's good. And now we've all tasted a little bit of history, you guys. All right, so 4th degree. Let's put this one down. Apologize while I step out of frame slightly. And okay, let's go. Now we're gonna make a dry martini. Most likely, you guys, and I'm going to read from my history while I'm cleaning up my stuff here and rinsing out my mixing glass. The martini is a cocktail that came onto the scene in multiple places at once as bartenders began to experiment with gin and dry vermouth, right? So obviously, okay, and then if you think about this too, think about spirits. Nowadays we have spirits that are made, with incredible care. If you think about, especially like post-Prohibition, a lot of these places that were serving cocktails, you had these spirits that were kind of questionable. So, but we still had great vermouths, so it was really all about the vermouth. And so, it's basically like, take this great vermouth and just plus it up a little bit, right? Booze it out a little bit. And even if the spirit was a little substandard, you could still have a great tasting cocktail. And if you were a bartender or a hotel or a restaurant trying to make money on those, you can still make money on them, right? So that's kind of what they were doing. This is the quintessential, martini cocktail. This is from liquor.com, which I think it was written by David Wonders. This is one fact that we do know. This drink's original form, according to early recipes, was sweet. So 19th century cocktail books featured this vermouth, right? And then when the dry martini took its current form around 1905, the new order of the day was dry vermouth, London dry gin, and maybe a little dash of orange bitters. And so that's what we're going to do. So this is the quintessential dry martini. These specs are from Charles Mahoney's Hoffman House Bartender's Guide. So this is 1905. So this is a dry martini recipe from 1905. I don't have Nicholson gin because I don't think they make it anymore. But we have our Beefeater. We have our London dry gin. And that's all there is. And you guys, now you know Old Tom gin, right? You know London dry. And then there's another one called Plymouth. Plymouth is now sold, and they've kind of reverse engineered and kind of brought that back. But there's different styles. And then I have this. This is St. George. This is terroir gin. We're going to make a Vesper a little bit later. Like gin, it's like bourbon now. Gin is like, it's blowing up. So equal parts, you guys. This is the way. Okay, so if you've ever wanted to try one of those martinis, and you don't want to have it taste like gasoline in a glass, I want to say that it's a strong cocktail. Okay, it's 1.5 ounces of gin and it's 1.5 ounces of vermouth. So it's not a beginner's drink. There's no, it's not like a margarita. It's strong. It's also meant to be sipped. So that's the other issue, and I think why some folks that might go buzz too much, because I mean, unless you're an experienced boozer like myself, you probably don't want to go. It's not gulpable. I mean, unless you've had a really shitty week, and then by all means do that. And then we just added a little bit of orange bitters. Angostura now makes orange bitters. Fantastic. Oh. So relaxing. And then let's do, I'm going to do this one for it to be, okay. I want to do this one in, let me just double check. Gibson and Mitchell. Okay, so let's do, why not? Let's use a martini glass. I got these fun, sort of twisted leg martini glasses, so let's serve it. And of course, these are up. You can have your martinis however you want. If you're James Bond and you're an international spy and you're packing you're packing a gun inside on your hip or inside your, of course, Mr. Bond, I'll make you your martini however the hell you want. But I think you're missing out if you choose to have it shaken and not stirred. So despite the exacting specs of the famous British spy, we're going to stir ours, okay, you guys, because this is the best way to do it. One more thing about glassware. I am not chilling my glassware because I want you to be able to see the cocktail in the glass, but I strongly encourage you, if you are at all interested in having a better cocktail experience in your home bar, that you keep your glasses in the freezer. Keep them cold. They excuse me. They will of course have a sort of a clouded sheen to them, and so you'll miss out on great optics. But at any rate, that's the way to do them. Keep them in there. So we want to stir long enough. You kind of get a feel of the viscosity, and you can use if you have like a metal, like a chopstick, you can use that too. You don't need to have one of these fancy dancy cocktail spoons, you guys. You don't need that. You don't need all that stuff. All you need is good specs, and you need time and patience, and you can make some of this stuff. So I made one of these a few days ago, and it's lovely. And for this one, I'm actually going to drop the lemon twist into the cocktail because I think the addition of the lemon oils. I got a few ice chips in there, so I probably should have double strained it. So my bad. Let's rip off a little bit of lemon, and I'm gonna try to make this one a little bit skinnier. So I'm gonna twist it and then just put it right in there. I had every intention of going and getting like a channel knife to be able to get some legit lemon twists. So I'm gonna actually. So we expressed that. Ooh. So let me wipe it around the edge. Sorry, my bad. I got excited because I'm gonna show you the cocktail, and then I am gonna drop the lemon peel inside because it just looks bitchin', right? It looks like there's the little lemon is like swimming or whatever. You're like, you're gonna get drunk. Okay, here we go. All right, very light. Oh my gosh, yeah. There's nothing on the nose. This is just like alcoholic water, right? Okay, here we go. Mm. Mm. Oh, that's a wonderful drink. That is so well balanced. It's incredibly light. If you are a gin person, so if you're and it just keeps evolving. If you use good quality vermouth, in this case, memorize this label, boys and girls. Dolan Dry Vermouth. This is the dry vermouth you want to use. It's sold pretty much everywhere now because people are all getting into mixology and craft cocktails, and people they know that now. They know. And it's just it was like 100 years ago. I mean, it took a little time after Prohibition, right? So all of this whole cocktail culture was huge in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, and then Prohibition hit, and then all these bartenders that knew how to make all this stuff, they all died or stopped working or whatever, and then it's taken years for us to recover all this stuff. So I don't know. Every time I have a craft, specced out cocktail like this, I sort of a nod to the gods and nod to all of them, to thank them for this experience. Yeah, this is great. Very light. That's a sipper. The dry vermouth. So here's what I'm going to say. Whether you're watching my show live now or you're seeing it in the future, I'm always trying to be your pusher, your gateway drug guy. Because I really have a passion for this mixology stuff, and I want to encourage my family, my friends, anyone who ever sees this video in the future to get out there and explore new stuff. Don't just order the same cocktails you always order. Sorry. Some asshole with a motorcycle is driving down the street and ruining my show. All right. So next time I'll close the windows. I'm learning how to do this stuff. Right. Okay. So if you're like a dry white wine person, if you really like a Sauvignon Blanc, this has that same level of dryness, but it's got a lot more alcohol in it. All right, so just keep that in mind. If you're always like, I'm not sure about the martinis, I'm not, I'm not sitting with silver hair, and I don't use olives. We are going to do a Gibson in a little bit, and we're going to use some of these fancy onions that I pickled myself. But let's give one more taste of this, and we move on to our next one. That's good. Super light, super dry. I like the other two because I like sweeter, which is why I'll do I'm going to do a bonus at the end of this, and I'm going to do a Vesper, and I'm going to use Coquille Americano. So we're actually going to make the James Bond Martini, and I'm going to shake it. We're going to do the original specs. I didn't even put this, I wasn't even planning on doing it, but we're going to make the James Bond Martini in a little bit, you guys, and we're going to see what's up with this British spice. He's badass, so who knows? All right. So let me set this aside and let's move on to our next one. Again, sorry for stepping out of frame. I'm kind of short-staffed. We are babysitting our lovely, amazing, beautiful niece today. Shh, no. My off-camera heckling was my audience member not listening to my full sentence as I was going to say. I am short-staffed because my lovely wife is babysitting our beautiful, amazing, incredible niece. We have spent the day with her. We took her on a boat. We took her to lunch, and she is such a great kid. We love her very much. We love her parents, who are watching the show right now. We love you all. We had so much fun today, and our heart is full. So we thank you for that opportunity to babysit your lovely daughter. All right, next, the Gibson. This is made with gin and dry vermouth, and it is garnished with onion and not an olive. You may have seen this before. Like, what the heck, onions? Okay, so apparently the origin behind this drink, I'm going to read fast because I know I've already been on for half an hour. The origin behind this drink is not entirely clear, but it is possible that the Gibson was created by a San Francisco businessman, Walter D.K. Gibson, in the late 1800s at the Bohemian Club. The Gibson did first appear in print in the 1908 book, The World's Drinks and How to Mix Them by William Boothby, but then the Gibson was more known for what it omitted for what that it added. During the time, it was customary to add a dash or two of bitters to a martini, which is what we just did. We added orange. The Gibson was made without bitters, so sans bitters, but the necessary onion wasn't as strictly associated with the drink. Who knows, man? So these, I looked up, these are the specs from this bartender, I forget his name, from the California Gold Bar in San Rafael, California. So I have been pickling these onions. I peeled them myself, and I put them in a jar with some vinegars and some botanicals and some spices and some cloves and a whole bunch of stuff, okay? And so I made my own. And yes, Teresa, you are correct. You are correct. Don't they even call those little onions Gibson onions? Apparently, they're mini pearl onions. But yeah, I think once you add the marination to the process, you're going to come up with Gibson onions. So we're going to do those at the end of this. And it's an incredibly simple cocktail. Let me make sure this is rinsed out. So it's almost the same cocktail we just made, but no bitters. So 1.5 ounces of London Dry Gin. So again, Gordon's. This is Beefeater because it was on sale, right? This you get. Guess what? I'm sorry. I'm not sponsored by any of these people, but I just love their store. Total Wine and More. It was like $20. Stupid, right? Stupid. All right, there's that. And then 1.5 ounces of dry vermouth. So it's the same specs as the cocktail we just made. Equal parts. Dry vermouth to gin. And that's it. And we're just going to stir it up with some ice. And then we're going to put it in our, what are we going to start? Oh, yeah, I'm going to do a coupe. Let's do a coupe. We're going to save our, I have a martini glass for our last one. I'm stirring my cocktail. This is one of the most lovely sounds ever. Other than like the sounds of waves crashing on the beach, that's one of my heart-filling sounds. It's the sound of the ocean. And there's two other sounds now. The sound of a stirred cocktail and the sound of a shaken cocktail. These sounds warm my heart. Okay, so we are going to, okay, Mr. Gibson, so no bitters. And here's what I understand. We're all going to find out very soon. Ooh, love those cute little 3-ounce scoops right to the wash line. Apparently, we're going to find out, the addition of the marinated savory onions is supposed to do something magical to this drink. No, it is not. It's not a dirty. So we're not gonna put any of the accoutrement, from the jar inside. That's a dirty martini, and that'll be another day. We'll do some dirty martinis another day. We'll do some blue cheese olives. We'll do all that shit. But this is just okay. Here's the Gibson. Nothing to it. Couple of onions on a stick, and let's just see what we got. Oh man. So it smells like a salad, right? So first of all, it sounds like a hefty, like a vinaigrette dressing on the nose, which is rad. That's great. First of all, that's great. It's cold because I stirred it long enough. I'm so proud of myself for doing the stir correctly. Now we're getting to the fourth cocktail. This is where Rob gets a little happy, towards the end of the show. This always happens. All right, here we go. One more sip. All right. Now what I want to do, I'm going to dive into the onion. Okay, guys, I'm going to dive in. What? Oh my God. That's so good. Oh shit, that's so good. Okay, I never would have expected this, and I did this on purpose. Oh, the onion is the star of the show. Woo! So first of all, this is like, dude, these, and I'll try to put the recipe for these. I'll put a link on my website. So check out the description below. Click on my website. And tomorrow morning, because I'll upload this and whatever, and I'll check it out, dude. I would have never have guessed. This is incredible. This is incredible. I'm stunned. This, it's kind of like if you've ever had a martini with olives, it's kind of the same kind of thing. The salty, vinegary, briny, savory, sweet because the onions are sweet. You're getting this. This is like an umami experience. Okay, stay with me. Chased with the booze. It's rad. That's so good. I would have never expected that. And I purposefully did not make this particular cocktail before tonight's show because I wanted to experience that firsthand. Wow, that's really good. I never would have expected that because I don't know. I always thought it would taste like shit. It's really good. All right. Look at me sucking it down. It's like, yeah. I got some onion caught in my teeth. All right, set this aside and let's make the Vesper, Mr. Bond. All right.
What's your Vesper, mister?
Yeah. What's your Vesper, mister? Okay, so I was going to make a Metropole for you guys. That's great. We'll do that another time. But I want to do, just because it's a martini special, and I think I've done it once, shaken, not stirred. So we are going to humor Mr. Bond, and we are going to create a cocktail that was created by Ian Fleming. So this is an entirely invented cocktail. It's not invented by a bartender. This was invented by Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming, who is great author, right? You guys know. Sorry. Go. Onion shit stuck in my teeth. That was embarrassing. So we're gonna make my version of the Vesper Martini. And if you go into a fancy dancy kind of a cocktail bar or a restaurant, whatever, and you see a back bar that kind of looks like this, you see a bunch of exotic bottles, and certainly if you see like gin that looks like this, and if you see this guy, the one that you'll have to look for is this. This is Coca Americano. Coca Americano it's kind of like a vermouth. It has botanicals like a vermouth, but it has quinine that you would find in like tonic water. This is the closest thing that we have now to something called Kina Lillet, K-I-N-A Lillet. Lillet Blanc is another sort of fortified white wine that is great in martinis. I have used it a ton, but I've done the research over the last year and a half. I really dove into this. This is the closest thing to when James Bond asked for parts of vodka, and he asked for this. This is the Kina Lillet that he's asking for. They stopped making Kina Lillet about, I think it was 20 years ago, maybe sometime in the 70s. But many professional bartenders have all said, "Yo, this is pretty darn close." Okay, so this is what we're gonna use. So we're going to start with, and then my own little twist. I'm going to have my own little twist. I'm going to do a couple of dashes of, and this is a Japanese bitter bottle, so a dash is like a half dash. So this is really the pièce de résistance. So we're going to add some grapefruit bitters, and then some orange bitters, right? And then we need 2 kinds of alcohol. So we need vodka and gin. This is my favorite gin right now. This is a St. George. They're up in San Francisco area, Alameda, actually. And this is St. George Terroir gin. This gin, you guys, memorize this label. If you're a martini person, you got to check this out. This smells like camping. I'm going camping on Sunday night for Father's Day, and I get to smell trees. But right now, I get to smell if trees in a bottle, right? Like kind of parsing Jim Croce there a little bit. But this is, oh shit, this is so good. So this is like pine tree in your mouth. This is so rad. So we're gonna do an ounce and a half of our St. George Terroir gin. And then we're gonna plus up the ethanol just a little bit. And we're gonna add 3/4 of an ounce of, you can use whatever vodka. Just use a small batch vodka. I got this from Trader Joe's, but they distilled it 10 times. So the more they distill vodka, the more pure the taste. You're getting rid of like congeners, which are it's just stuff that makes it taste shitty. So the more they distill it, the better it tastes. Okay. Deep Eddy is another great one. Obviously Tito's. Everyone kind of knows what Tito's is now. Tito's is super popular. Yeah, you can use Stoli. If you're really being traditional, you would use a London dry gin, and you would use like I've seen it made where you do Beefeater and Stoli. But because I didn't have the Stoli, I'm like, I'm messing with the specs anyway, so let's do it. So we got our vodka, we've got our gin in there. So and you may have heard, yes, a vodka martini. I've tried them. I don't think they're worth it because vodka doesn't have flavor. It just has ethanol. And for some reason, this little magic concoction, and I haven't shaken it before, so I'm curious to see what this sounds like. Sorry, it's the musician in me. I'm used to saying sounds like instead of tastes like. Cookie Americano, we're going to do close to a full ounce of this. A scant 1 ounce of Cookie Americano. So this is, these are kind of like and in the book he says parts, not ounces, but parts. So if you've ever read Casino Royale, or you've seen the movie Casino Royale, and he asks for, this many parts of this many parts of this, and whatever, and the waiter is like, what the hell do you want, Mr. Bond? He's basically asking for a slightly diluted, but also plussed up in terms of alcohol martini. So it's very interesting. So we are gonna, I know this is sacrilege. I know there are people that are watching this that are gonna go, what the hell? What is he doing? But we're gonna shake it, and we're not gonna stir it. But we are gonna double strain to get out the ice chips. Should think about, I don't know. Bond wants his dilution, so let's give him what he wants. All right, holy shit, that's cool. All right, I'm gonna do that, and then I need my double strainer. We are gonna double strain it into this glass so that we don't have any ice chips going through. And so you guys will see another reason why I don't like shaken martinis. Look at what this does. It turns it into a cloud bomb. But we're gonna let it sit. We're gonna chill out for a second while it does that thing, and then we're gonna do our lemon twist. So again, this is the Vesper. And you can do it a number of different ways. I've been messing around with the gin versus vodka part for a while. Oh my gosh, 48 minutes. Thank you guys for sticking around. I've had 5 people on this live show. So this is what Mr. Bond asked for, you guys. And I'm going to drop it in there because, you know what? He doesn't get special treatment because he asked for a shaken martini. All right, the Vesper. Cheers. Okay, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but that's really good. Oh, all right. I stand corrected. In our home bar. Wow. Okay. I'm aghast. I haven't made it shaken before. I've always stirred it. and I'm growing. I'm learning to admit when I'm wrong, of course. This is fantastic. It's really well balanced. The extra dilution kind of opens things up a little bit. And actually, because, and maybe, who knows, maybe Mr. Fleming, I don't know. He's been dead a long time, so I can't ask him. But maybe the fact that he plussed up the ethanol, the alcohol in this, and then maybe the shaking part was meant to open it up. It's fantastic. It actually opens up the botanicals in the Coca Americano a little bit more, kind of like a gin and tonic. This is fantastic. It's light. It's refreshing. Oh, and then here's the other. This is my favorite part. It's bringing out the pine tree notes of this particular gin more when you shake it. So I'm shocked. I am 100% shocked that this is as good as it is. As you can tell, I'm like, keep it close to my mouth because it's really good. Wow, that's crazy. That shouldn't be good. All right, so obviously Ian Fleming, he's a better writer than most of us, right? Yeah, as was just mentioned in the chat, yes, this is me eating crow right now. I'm surprised. It's good. And another reason why I want to do this particular cocktail tonight, because I had a feeling that, well, maybe he was onto something. Maybe he just did it at home, or I don't know. Every shaken martini I've ever had has been awful, but this one's great. So who knows? Maybe I just nailed the specs and just the proper dilution, and I don't know, something about it, you guys. This is great. So one more sip. I cannot thank you enough for joining me. I started this hobby a year and a half ago when COVID hit, and just looking for a way to keep myself busy. I missed the juice of live teaching, and now we're back to that. But just keeping this thing going, and now we're on YouTube. For those of you that joined me live today, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Shifting over to YouTube, it's a little different because you can't just click on Facebook and just watch my show. So I appreciate all y'all who took the time to come over and watch this show. If you're seeing it later, great. Thank you. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Please check out my website. It's in the description below. I will put the specs for all these cocktails that I made tonight on there so you can make them at your leisure. We'll be back in 3 weeks. We're going to take a couple of weeks off, do some traveling with my gorgeous wife, and we'll be back in about 3 weeks with a celebration of all things Canada, because Canada Day is on, I forget what day. It's July something or other. My sister-in-law is from Canada, and she just had a baby, and I want to celebrate her and her family and all things Canada. And so we're gonna do some Canadian cocktails in 3 weeks. I've never made Canadian cocktails. I've got to find some Canadian maple syrup that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So we'll have some fun in about 3 weeks. So join us next time here on Rob the Rich, Free the Poor. Check out my channel, check out my website, and we'll see you next time. Peace, love, happiness. Love you guys. Thank you.